morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this last Monday of February 2023. And it's a day when in the news we've got the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers. They're going to be holding demonstrations in the CBD. So Giles is our reporter at that event, and Chief Justice Martha Koome is going to be opening the small courts in Meru. This is at the Meru Law Court, so that's an event that we're going to be taking a look at as part of our news coverage today. And also happening today and tomorrow is that we've got the Women's Economic Forum, and the theme is getting women involved in Kenya's economic recovery. And the Public Service, Affirmative Action and Gender Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Aisha Jumwa, is going to be the chief guest. So that is happening in Nairobi today and tomorrow. And also, as usual on Sports Check, conversations around sport. We've got the Windsor Classic. This is the second event of the year, 2023, for the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship. We're going to be speaking with the captain of the Windsor Golf and Windsor Golf Hotel, Simo Dubayish. So he's going to be joining us, and Luis Charania, the pro at Windsor, speaking about this tournament, earning points towards the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship. But also, we're going to be having a live link coming in from Nairobi. Bernard Okumu is going to be with Box Girls Kenya. And what's the story of Box Girls? They've given us Sarah Achieng. She's one of the elite pro boxers we've got in the country. Her nickname is Angel of War. She's come through Box Girls, but it's not about the athletes they've produced. It's an impact in society. And they've received a second nomination for the Sport for Good Award at Laureus 2023. Laureus Awards, the Oscars of sport. That's all we can say. A second nomination for them, and a big story that's got to be told about the work that they are doing in the community and how they're impacting it. And, you know, some of the benefits that come with not one, but a second nomination for the Laureus Award. But we start our conversation this morning with a sport where I would say 50 years ago, Kenya was one of the top 4 nations in the world. Yes, top 4. Not athletics, not rugby, not cricket. We're talking about hockey. India and Pakistan were Kenya's peers then. But 50 years later, the sport has grown, so many changes in the laws, and for Kenya to get to that level again could take a decade. That's what everyone's hoping for. But how do you nurture that talent? And in other sport, that's where our conversation starts. In studio, we've got the Managing Director of the Simba Sports Academy, former Kenya International, Narinda Singh Chana. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you.
Yes. And as we get into a conversation, remember our hashtag is Sports Check. Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. And our sign language interpreter is Lucy Mwaura. Coach, thank you for coming in here. And you know, just a story, you know, you played for Kenya 40 years ago, to be precise. And also, you know, Kenya going to the Los Angeles Olympics. That was considered a slot, the other slot for Kenya after the after the athletes and the boxers then. So let's just give a background of, you know, of your playing days and how that was.
Thank you for having me, Wahome. I was born here in Kenya, in Nairobi. Started my hockey career at Sikirian Club way back in 1975, and played through for international from 79, 80 onwards up to 84. The level of hockey, standards of hockey was much, much higher. We were competing with the top nations. We used to have international teams used to come here, especially India, Pakistan, and during those days we traveled quite a bit to India, Pakistan for training camps and all that. Come 84, 88, I think Kenya that was the last Olympics we did.
Yes.
And after that it has been a nosedive down. I migrated from Kenya in 99, 2000 to Canada. And after 17 years, I came back and saw the need for the youngsters to start hockey at grassroots level. Thus, gave a proposal to Sikh Union Club to open up a Sikh Union Sports Academy for the kids. And they took it on, and here we are today.
Well, the Sikh Union Club has got a great history around this. It's produced, great, great names. I think amongst the greatest players is
36 Olympians.
36 Olympians.
Yes.
I think. What would I say? That's a count
Yes.
that any single club would like to have. I think when it comes to team sport, what was the reception that they took it up? Because I know people like Avtar Singh, Sohal are there. What is the story?
Well, in our growing up days, we used to see Avtar, Sujit Senior, Sujit Rihal, Talochan Chana. There's top players, and the dedication and the quality of hockey was, as you said, it was matching the world standards in those days. That's prompted us to take up hockey. And hockey, even during our primary school, we used to play hockey. There used to be tournaments, there used to be leagues. Coming to secondary schools was the same. And I still remember any foreign team, be it India, Pakistan, or Holland, or Germany, who visited here, the first game they would play as a curtain raiser was with schools and college combined. So that interest for the kids was there. And that's where the athletes come in.
All right. So here you started 2017, you come back.
Yeah.
So there you are. You start off reaching out to the youngsters now. That's where it comes.
Oh, that was a big challenge. That was a big challenge 5 years ago when I came back. I could see our A team, the Sikh Union team, which we left at the top position. And we didn't have any youngsters. We didn't have any B teams or any C teams.
Actually, for just for audience, it was known, that was the club that was known as Nairobi Simba.
Nairobi Simba.
Yes.
Yes, Nairobi Simba, and prior to that it was Sikh Union, came to Nairobi Simba. And but wherever I went, any club I went to, any institution or anything, and I would see a lot of youngsters, but none of them were playing. So that's prompted me to give them a chance to do something. And we clicked up from there. And it's been an uphill task for us to gather players. But I'm happy to say in 5 years, we have about over 220 registered kids at the Simba Sports Academy.
You started off with 3.
Yes.
Let's just
Three kids. Yeah.
And what is that challenge? Because children have got this kind of peer thing and say, "Come, we've got this thing." What was the outcome?
Well, we went in a very strong way to our Sikh temples, especially, and they have been really very helpful, providing us with transport and things like that. So that's another challenge for all of them to come to Sikh Union Club and try keeping some tournaments, some festivals for them, what they look forward to as a kid. And that's how the interest and word of mouth just kept going. And till today, we find new kids registered nearly every week.
We know that the Sikh Union Club, it's a private members club.
Yes.
But there, you reach out to the community. Is that history reaching out to the communities around, and and how people want to be associated. The people who are there and the kids come train there for cricket and this. How have you been reaching out to the community around?
Well, with the kids, under the academy, it's free, and everyone is welcomed. As they age, and I think after 18, they are either given a choice to become sports members, or their parents become members and carry on with their career.
And this is where I like to bring in now the coaching aspect, the excitement of somebody getting the hockey stick and the kookaburra for the very first time. What's the process of now inducting a child to the sport?
Hockey, from the days when we talked about 50 years ago, what hockey was then and what hockey is today is totally different. The coaching system, the game has changed so much and it has become so fast. So we try to adopt into that and try to keep all the current, like last year we had a coach from India for 3 months at the Simba Sports Academy. And the things what we learned from him was incredible. The things it has changed so much. And, so for a new kid who comes in, the equipment is all supplied and all that. And we have around 9 coaches, not only in hockey, but cricket as well, squash, badminton.
Actually, I'll come to those other sports.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
and Willie Otieno, he's our main head coach at the academy. And the groups, the age groups which we have is under 5s, we call them the Sikh Union Kittens. And then under 10s, we call them Sikh Union Cubs. And then under 19s, we have Sikh Union Tigers and then Sikh Union A. So we have 4 teams at right now. It's a process where from grassroots level, it's taken up. Yeah.
Let's start with the simple basics of hockey, grabbing it. Because I know the very first time if a hockey stick, somebody picks up, a hockey stick, the first way they would grab, the way they would hold a hockey stick is, it's totally different. It's basically you're a right-handed person, but you're being asked to do something that is for lefties. So for a start, you could tell us about that basic, like we can see on the pictures, how they hold the stick work, the control and all that.
There is whenever you hold a stick or you ask a hockey player, and majority of them will tell you, yeah, this is a right-hand hockey stick. Actually, that hockey stick is a left-hand hockey stick. The current hockey sticks, because you're controlling all with your left hand. Right hand is just there to support. So it's a lefties game. If you're a left-handed, don't hold the hockey stick the other way. Hold it, but you'll improve with that. Your left hand would be much stronger. So the basics are taught to the kids: how to hold the stick, how to move with the ball, stopping the ball, pushing the ball. Yeah. And as they mature, how to lift the ball up, how to dribble past. Some of the drills which we do through that.
You mentioned some of the basics and the evolution of the game. Yeah. I remember I played in high school, and at one point you can't play against sides from Nairobi. You see players standing and you're wondering, what's this going on here? Yeah. Simple things that have changed in the sport. Maybe you could mention a series of them. When you played and what we have now.
Well, when we played, all my playing career, I played as a left wing. In those days, you could not turn around. You had to run and then turn and take a cross. You could not use the slap shots or hitting the ball the way nowadays they do. You could not lift the ball up.
Yes.
And there was offside rules on that time. The hockey game has developed such that they make it much, much quicker. Nowadays you have 4 quarters, 15 minutes each quarter.
And to play for 70 minutes, 35.
Yes, yeah. And you only had 3 substitutions. And now it's a rolling substitution. So everyone goes in for 7 minutes and you're back. But those 7 minutes you're running like, up and down. Yeah.
Now, for you to get to that level of fitness and the intensity of the game, how do you take these youngsters so that once they get the basics, controlling the ball, handling the stick, the hockey stick, all the drills, the dribbles,
right,
and understanding the rules, how do you develop them slowly from the under 5s, the under 10s, such they get used to that intensity?
Well, under 5s, the basics are been taught to them, just the basics, how to hold the stick, stop the ball, push the ball, moving with the ball. Yeah. Coming up to like under 10s, under 5s, I'm telling you, these guys are really young kindergarten kids.
Yes.
Under 10s, we always have kind of play some games with them. Different kind of games. You could passing the ball, pushing the ball, defense against the forwards, or just keeping another game amongst themselves, where they learn how to past the, as you see, the game has changed so much. We must have seen, if you were there, at the All Africa Club Championships last week at Sikirian Club. It's amazing. It's incredible speeds. The shots, the ball, it's traveled at such a high speed. Yeah. And so our youngsters have to be taught at this age how to compete. And we need school teams and we need other clubs to come up with 2 or second string or a third string team so we can have a league amongst themselves. So why I'm saying under 10 is so important. If Kenya ever wants to get back into the Olympics, you're looking at 10 to 12 years from now.
So we'll be talking about at least we know
2033,
2032, the Olympics will be in Brisbane. We know 24 is in Paris, 28 is in LA. So we'll be talking Brisbane at the earliest.
At the earliest, and start concentrating on those under 10s now. Because this game has really changed, as we all know. And right now, where Kenya is, it's not in a good state. It's a pity. Where did we go wrong? Did we not invest in the kids or in our grassroots levels? Right now, the players, senior players who are playing, or in the league, national league, they've already crossed that age of 44 to 24, 25 years and above. At that time, you've passed your peak, kind of. You know, the amount of running required on these pitches nowadays. And but what to do? You don't have any youngsters coming in, so they carry on playing. Yeah, and we can see the results. Teams like Ghana, Egypt, we never lost to them. We never lost to them. You know, but today we struggle against Uganda. Yeah, so.
Well, the only sport where Uganda should give us a headache is football. Let's just say that. But when you've got, one of the things you're doing is making sure that you've got strength and conditioning so that these players now adapt to the kind of movement that's there.
Right.
You've mentioned, for example, 25 years ago, you had to play almost like an alien, you know, doing right angle turns. So if you've got, you know, if you've got to make any movement, so how do you then? Because I've seen some little videos where how
they turn around, spin around,
such that you don't damage your ligaments.
Right.
How do you take them through this drill?
So the basic principle for our Simba Sports Academy, as I mentioned earlier, we have over nearly 220 kids. They're not all hockey players.
Yeah.
There's some cricketers, badminton, squash players. Yeah. So our main basic aim is to condition them properly, teach them how to run properly, the right footwork, flexibility, agility, strengthening, you know. So when they come to the age, and introduce them the games during that age period, but when they come to about 10 and above, they tend to, you can see somebody is more into cricket, and then we kind of push him into cricket with specialized coaches and all that. If he's more into hockey, then we take him into hockey, and then work on their fitness and agility and flexibility and all that.
And it's all dependent on this, and it's all dependent on the sport they're picking.
Yeah.
But spoken to some strength and conditioning coaches, and what they say is make this person an athlete fast.
Very true, very true, very true. Make him an athlete first, because once you get into that, your eye for the ball or your physical ability to move into any game, it's so much stronger.
What have been the little stories that are coming up with this group of 17? I mean, with what you're calling those who are in between the Cubs and Tigers. Yeah. What are the success stories that you're picking up?
Well, we've got. This is the first in 5 years, as I said, we opened this. Our first crop, which we harvested, I would say. It's we have 3 or 4 boys who were chosen to go for trials for under 21 Kenya, and I think 2 would make it. out of that. And these are the kids who were 14, 15 when we started, and they're 17, 18 now, within those 5 years. This is for hockey. On the other side, cricket, you must have read Sikinen is in the finals with Swami Bappa T20.
Yes.
And Ashdeep Kundi, he's one of our academy boys. He's 15, and he took 3 wickets of Canbies, and that's Canbies is the top team. Yeah, so the future,
It can be bigger than that.
The talent is there. The talent is there, but it's more investment needed in that youth sector.
Oh, I'll be coming to cricket because that's another interesting story that, for Kenyan sport. In 20 years we've declined. We are now competing against Botswana and Nigeria. That's not the story we should be having. But the Sikh Union Club, one of the things they've done, and that's why, it was nominated as a venue for the Africa Club Championships.
Yes.
The investment in the AstroTurf, how much has it changed that from the Maram court that everyone has known for a long time?
I would say the changing of grounds in 1976 Olympics at the Montreal Olympics from grass to AstroTurf was a big setback for African countries, because that is in 76. 40 plus years ago, nearly
47
years ago. And today we have only one playable pitch. The AstroTurf, the pitch at the City Park Stadium, it needs a new carpet. The sooner the better. Playing hockey on Maram, on grass, is totally different than what is on Astro. Your basics, you're stopping the ball, you're hitting the ball, is all totally different.
And this is where I would like to bring in, because this is what we get from, I played on grass in high school, and you get to university, you're playing on Mara and grass, then you have to go play at City Park on Astro. What is it that you see when you do outreach to schools? If you're going to do a schools tournament, you find that they're playing probably on grass, or they've got the Maram pitch.
Right. At Sikinen and the club management, they're fully very sportive. All the membership, they're all behind us to see hockey where it used to be. I won't be wrong to say if Sikinen hockey is down, Kenyan hockey is down. So maybe because of that, we want to lift that Sikinen hockey up, and at the same time work with Kenyan team to bring it up. So we offer our grounds to our Sikinen, apart from the Sikinen Academy, to the schools. Premier Academy uses our grounds. Paponi School, sometimes they use our grounds. And try to, through the academy, try to introduce some tournaments, some leagues, if we can, for the younger age bracket.
Yes.
So they get a chance to come and play onto the Astro.
And what is a difference, in feel of surface that would really affect an elite hockey player, especially when they go to the international level where the standard is Astro?
Yeah. Well, the difference between two now, you have played on Maram and on grass. Controlling the ball was a skill.
Yes.
It was a skill. You had to move with the ball and had to bring the ball under your control and all that. But on Astro, the basic skills what you need is that stopping, pushing, hitting, scoop, and that's it. The ball's going to be right on the surface because it's a wet surface. It's not going to lift. Stopping is much easier. But passing, it has to be a long passes and hard passes. It's no more of that Indian dribble kind of thing. Yes, it is an individual skill, but it's needed. But again, they have developed so much, evolved so much. You could do a 360 turn.
Yes.
Without being called for an obstruction or anything. And the defender would look like he's lost. He doesn't know. Somebody does a 360 in front of you and goes from there. So it's all individual skills, and there's a lot where you can lift the ball and tap it on your stick and move with it, provided it's not a dangerous play according to the umpires. So these are the basics what Kenya needs to work on from the age group of under 14s there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by the time they get to 15, 16, they've already learned the skills, and now the coaches have more time to work on different drills and different plays of the game.
Like one former Harambee Stars coach said, get the basics right. I don't want a player at the national team who's got no basics.
Yes.
So that I stick to tactics.
Right, yeah. So because once you could be a good player, but if you don't have those basics and you in the national squad or something, the coaches are wasting your time teaching you the basics at that time. The basics should be taught at an early stage.
All right. Now let me bring in something. It's because it's something that used to happen. You've mentioned about the Indian dribble. You know, people who would, flamboyant, be basically kind of a Lionel Messi, but in the hockey sense.
Yes.
Anyone who was good with the dribble got the nickname Sing somehow. William Okech is I think he's the most famous one. But with today's game, because I've seen it with football, where there is some intensity and people want to, it's stop, pass. How much has that game changed in terms of that technical aspect? Because I know we still love the flair. This is Africa. If it's got no flair, then it's right. It really doesn't work.
Yeah. See, when a sport evolves into such what is hockey today, the speed, the intensity at that time, you got to have some set plays. And for a team, it will follow those set plays. Wherever the coaches tell you, okay, this is the move we are going to do and this is what you're required to do. So it's a set play. Yeah, in the last 25 yards, where you're coming to a D-top or about to score, you can show your skills. You have one defender to beat or two to beat, and you've done that Indian dribble and you've gone in there. But majority of the game is just set plays. Even the converting short corners or all that.
Now let's move. You intend to have tournaments. Once you develop the players, the competitive edge comes through either leagues or tournaments. The school setup, we've got to agree, yes, it does good for the sport, but we know about one term.
That's it.
It's a term one sport.
Yeah.
But you'd like to have it played consistently.
Yes.
What's the plan to make sure that these people have that?
So what we at Sikh Union's club, the Simba Sports Academy, starting this April, we have the Vaisakhi Sports coming up.
Wow, everyone waited for that tournament.
Yeah. And we want to get schools involved. I've been going to some schools here up to Paponi and Hillcrest and all that, just watching kids play. And there is a lot of talent. There are lots of kids just want to be out there. But if we can scout them up, pick those kids and make a squad and say, okay, guys, come and train here. We have this tournament coming up, under 14s tournament. For a kid, that's what they need. They got to have something, a small medal or a small trophy, and they'll cherish that for their life, and that will change their lifestyle. They'll get into it. But if we don't have any tournaments coming up, for instance, like Butali Sugar, that's Kenya's #1 team today.
Yes.
And they play the Kenya Hockey Union National League. I think last year they must have played maybe 18 or 19 games in a whole year.
That's probably
That's it.
The equivalent of once every 3 weeks. You should be playing twice a week.
And the difference here in the earlier on you asked me was about what's the difference when we played hockey and now. In our time, we had about 14 tournaments in 9 months season period. 14 tournaments all around the country. Yeah.
Just take us through them. Basically, let's start with the league.
We had the National League, and then we had the Nairobi Hockey League, which was played during weekdays.
Yes.
And weekends was that. Then we had the Smash Cup, Vaisakhi Cup, MRD D'Souza Cup. That was the season ender. Ujagar Singh Cup was in Kisumu. Nakuru had Kishan Singh Cup. Nyeri had Sonsing Cup. And in between, I think we had the Jamhuri Cup. Yeah, there were about 14 tournaments. Mombasa had a tournament. So in that period of the season, 8 to 9 months, the kids, everyone had something to look forward. Every weekend there was something going on. Weekdays there were games, so it kept you out of mischief. And you were there, you know. And the seniors, Tari, Coach Tari, he is much senior to us, and you know, he kept, he still today is 84, 85, but you shake his hand, you'll come to know that this guy is a serious guy. And he molded us into that. And I'm proud to say that I'm associated with Sikh Union Club. It's my motherland, my mother club for all these years. Yeah. Thus the love for hockey and the club. When I came back 5, 6 years ago, I didn't see any youngsters playing. So started this sports academy.
Let's move on. So looking at this, the other one I would like to bring in is the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association, because you've mentioned Avtar Singh Sohal, it's a Kenyan hockey legend,
yeah.
And he coaches Kamusinga.
Yeah.
The thing is, working with this, for example, in Nairobi, we've got enough schools. One of the items on any Form 1 entry list is a hockey stick. I don't know why that happens, but for years, everyone's required to have a hockey stick. That means the basic equipment is there. What's the school system in the country doing, you know, trying for outreach? Because if you've got one, what would I say, a common way of thinking when it comes to hockey, definitely the national team selection will not be a problem.
Well, as you mentioned just now, it's only played in the first term in schools.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think it's in primary schools. It's only in secondary schools. So it has to start there in primary school as well. And most of the schools in and around Sikh Union Club, within 5 to 6 kilometers radius, there are about 35 schools, and every school has a ground. Yeah.
I mentioned them. Eastleigh High School has one.
Juja Road Primary, Park Road Primary, Technical, Jamhuri, Dr. Ribeiro, Oshul, all primary schools. There are quite a number of primary schools in Juja Road, Pangani area. Pangani girls, they had 2 grounds, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, yeah, Pangani girls, they used to be national champions.
Yes, yes. And I remember playing school tournaments at Kenya High, at these schools, and this was when school teams were playing. Some of the tournaments were throughout the year, but it wasn't just one-term game. So if you were in that hockey team, you would be required to pay in second term and third term the school tournaments, or travel with the team wherever they were going.
Actually, yeah, it was, that trip was something, for those who went to boarding school, you know what it means to have a school trip. It used to be one of the biggest things. So overall, the outlook, and because maybe I'd like you to just emphasize it so that people understand that it may take 10 to 12 years to achieve, to have a real harvest and have a consistent crop of elite hockey players, such that you can compete against the world. Just to re-emphasize on that, and so that people understand. We're how would I say? We're an instant coffee country.
Right. What we've started at Simba, I've told you about this, and right now the Nairobi County Hockey Association, before COVID, I think they were dissolved at certain point, but the way forward, I see Paul Omani, who's an ex-international, played in '88 Olympics. He was a goalkeeper. He's back from States as well, and he's heading the interim committee right now. And I see that is a good sign for hockey, because if Nairobi hosts about 36 teams in Nairobi County.
Yes. Wow.
36 teams.
36.
And Nairobi hockey, majority of the tournaments were run with Nairobi hockey. And if that is not working, then the clubs have no other choice and see what Kenya Hockey Union has to offer, maybe running a league and few tournaments here and there. But Nairobi hockey has to be strong and active.
Well, there you've had it. Now, let me mention another sport, cricket.
Yeah.
2003, Kenya gets to the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup. The last time they were at the World Cup was in 2011. That was in India. But you mentioned earlier about the T20 tournament. Now Sikinen will be playing in the final.
Yes.
Against Swami Bapa. But what's the work being done around cricket now?
As we said, we have quite a number of players who are into cricket, but under the academy belt. And one of the young kids is Ashdeep, who's an upcoming. Not to forget our captain Sukhjinder Sonu and Jasraj Kundi. These are youngsters aged 20, 21, but I don't know how many, 3 or 4 generations since we last played in the World Cup, we have lost now. Cricket, it's a pity to see where we are today, and it's not long ago that we were one of the tops. What went wrong? Again, the infrastructure for the grounds, the training patterns, the major problem sometimes, yes, we need funding, but too much funding can also spoil the...
Yes, well, we know that. I want to avoid the politics of cricket because that is...
So too much funding also messes things up, and if we, our national bodies, if we or everyone have a passion and one target and say, okay, yeah, we are going to work for hockey or we are going to work for cricket, and without any ego or without any personal gains, we can achieve a lot. There is talent. There is a lot of talent in cricket. And cricket, NPCA are doing a great job. They have an under 14s league running, under 19s league running, taking into consideration that the number of grounds we have are not as many. But they're managing all that.
The coach, I know a friend of mine known as Irongo. I've seen him coaching the kids there.
Irongo.
As they call him. What's the stories that he's giving you whenever he works with his young crop of players, some who want to be batsmen, some bowlers, others all-rounders?
Well, Coach Irungu has been with the Sikinen club for quite some time now. And he's working closely with the academy itself. And I think he was one of the coaches for the under-19s Kenya team. A very passionate person. He spends time with the kids and see where he can develop a kid, his footwork or his running style, or catching, or making things easier, and dedicates a lot of time to the kids. And this is what we need. It's not just money. It's spending time with the kids and correcting them at that early age. So when they get into a national team, the national coach doesn't have to work on the basics. He has something else to work on.
And this is where something comes in, and a lot of people need to get this conversation going, is how you coach these people under 10s, under 15s, such that you're in charge, you're firm, but at the same time understand what the developmental process is.
So the pillars of Simba Sports Academy, we have 3 pillars. It's discipline, number 1, commitment and dedication. So discipline is what is installed into under 10s. We get some parents who can say, these guys don't listen to me at home. I don't know how you handle them. But the whistle in your mouth should be authority. So, and that's how, they respect the coaches, and at the same time the coach can pick up, okay, this kid is good in this, but the physical aspect of it, physical running, physical cross countries, and warming up and doing the exercises the right way, all that is a main focus of the academy.
Well, and for those of you who know, I mean, when he mentions cross country, if you've played a sport where speed is of essence and all that, cross country is nobody's favorite run. No one loves going for that cross country run, but it's necessary for endurance. Talk about badminton. I don't even want to talk about the politics of badminton. That's crazy in this country. But what's the progress that we're seeing here?
Badminton, Sikinin is currently undergoing renovations in the main hall. We should be ready by early next month. We have 4 courts. We will be getting some carpets for those courts as well, the lighting system, and try to host national and international tournaments at Sikinin. There is a lot of interest in younger kids for badminton. We have Coach Wahome. He's a national team player as well, and a lady as well, Agnes. And we kind of, as I said, we introduce these games to the kids, but then some kids will come and pick that up, and the coach can say, yeah, this guy can be good. So we talk to the parents and send them into that. And again, as badminton and as any other national sports bodies, we have 2 or 3 national bodies. That is, those politics have to be sorted out and get our house in order for those kids to go and represent Kenya into world championships and all that. Now you have 2 national bodies or 3 national bodies.
Actually, there are 2. There is one recognized here. There's another one recognized globally, and so it's the athlete who loses.
It is, yeah. So for me, it just shows me that these are personal egos or personal reasons for having this. But if you have the love for the game, you would sit down and resolve all this. And because you in-house fighting now, cricket, you're going to waste 2 or 3 generations. Yeah, by the time the guy is 18 and he can be a top team player, but because of your internal problems, this kid will not represent Kenya. He's turned, one day he wakes up, he's 25, he's 30 years old. We are done. So those, the national bodies, the CS should really step into this and sort all this out if they really want Kenya sports to be up there. And we have the talent. And we have the talent. It's not that we don't have talent.
Now let's talk about this, because I remember, when was it? The run-up to the Commonwealth Games, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya had to work and get the right floor mats for the badminton athletes.
Yes.
Because we may play on wood here, but when you go out there, you find it's a totally different sport. That is number one. The indoor hall, we know badminton is a fast game. But because of the nature of the shuttlecock, it's more of a close-quarter sport. Yeah. How do you intend to make sure that this meets the proper standards as may be required by an international federation?
Well, all the badminton mats, for instance, they're there. We are investing in that, as we did with the AstroTurf for hockey. We are going to invest into another artificial turf right behind the hockey pitch, which will cater for hockey fives as well, and some other multi-sports thing. And badminton, we are investing into that to get the mats. The lighting system is such at Simba, and the hall's big enough now where we can accommodate large numbers of spectators and or attract national or international tournaments.
The other sport that you're in is squash.
Yeah. Squash, yes. It's been nosedived again at Simba Union, but Sikinin now we have got our courts renovated, and we have started to reintroduce the game back to the kids. It's a very powerful and a very physically demanding game. We have got a couple of our ex-players who have volunteered to come and coach the kids on Saturdays, and we see from there.
When you talk about the intensity of squash, played totally indoors, and
the ball don't go out.
It's actually more in a cage.
Yes,
with a glass and the wall.
Yeah.
How much then do you need to help a kid understand, such that even when they're playing, they know there is this line where the ball must get to.
Yeah, the coaches, the basics, how they teach them how to do the forehand and how to hit the backhand, and how to do your footwork. Because it's more, if you're not familiar with the sport, if I put you into a squash court, you will start running. And squash is not running; it's just striding, stride back, stride there, stride there, back. And again, as if international more tournaments are played, Asif Chaudhry, our ex-squash player,
yes,
he's in UK now, based in UK, but he has helped us quite a bit in getting some equipment and try to reintroduce this game again into Kenya. Yeah.
What when it comes to the equipment around squash and the number of facilities, I mean, you can actually count them. I think of Parkland Sports Club and maybe a few other places. Yeah. How much work? How much is the cost? How can you basically get to get more involved?
Well, as some other sports facilities around the country neglected, same is with squash. There are clubs where squash courts are there, but used for storage. So nothing's going on there. You might have no players playing. Instead of reintroducing that, let's not kill that sport. Machakos Golf Club has a squash court. Mombasa, Royal Nairobi Golf Club has a squash courts. Impala Club, YMCA, Securing Club on the other hand here.
I think I've also seen Pumwani.
Yes.
Pumwani High School.
Yes,
I've seen they
opposite the Pangani police station.
Yes.
Yes, they have a squash court there. It's again, as a national body, or the Nairobi County, you have to have, if the kids got to be involved, you got to have tournaments. If the tournaments are not there, you can train a kid and one day you'll just turn around and say, why do I need to train so hard? What am I training for? And at Asif, when Asif Chaudhry, I remember, I think we were sub-Saharan, we were the champions he was a champion of East and Central Africa for 4 or 5 years or something like that. Yeah.
Eventually, I mean, whenever you make these outreach to the federations, because we know there are some, when you try to set up the academies, they tell you, all right, first of all, this is the structure and they can change, some little bit of the bylaws. What are the responses that, you're getting from them? Because they really want the athletes back. But they also need to allow, some of this leeway.
To that, I would just say, if you have that passion for the kids to play that sport you loved, or you still love, then do the right thing. Keep your personal egos, personal agenda on side, and go for the game. Because it's not us, it is that youngster who is going to be playing. If we keep our own problems through and through, keep wasting time on that, we're wasting his time. He's growing up at that time.
And they say that sportsmen are, they're called what? Retire at 30. Yeah. It's quite an interesting initial. Right. Let me just come back to you, Avtar Singh Sohal, because he's done a lot. He coaches Kamusinga. That means leaving Nairobi, going to Bungoma, staying there for
months.
Can stay there for 2 months. What's the possibility of replicating this whole concept? And reaching out to other people?
As I said, there is a lot of talent. All we need to do is every county now should take up this initiative and get some good coaches and invest into that, into the kids. If Kenya has to go and represent us in 2032 or 34, we have to start now. Yeah.
Now, the other thing is calling for investment. How much support do you think is needed? Because we have to be realistic. The Kenya Volleyball Federation, I'll use that as an example, have said, out there in the world, we play indoors. Let's get used to playing indoors. Hockey is astro, not grass and marram.
Yeah.
If it's surfaces for, say, basketball, it's wood.
Right.
We gotta get used.
True, true. The infrastructures, yes, finances are needed, and this is where the government should step in with the national bodies. I mean, the AstroTurf, for example, at the City Park Stadium, is in pathetic condition. The government should step in and get us a carpet. If you get a new carpet there, one here, one in Mombasa, Kisumu, even if it's a half pitch, but they learn to play on that pitch. So when they come out to Nairobi and play the national tournaments and national trials, they are used to it.
Now, what about for hockey 5? Because you've mentioned it. This is basically playing on half a pitch.
Yes.
How much can be done to help grow the sport? Because I think it was at the African and I think under youth games where Kenya first played that.
Yeah. So hockey 5s is kind of a shorter version, like T20 in cricket. A shorter version of hockey, and again the ball don't go out. You play against the boards and you can score a couple of new rules, and it's very interesting to see. I think it's a hot cake for the media as well, for TV rights and people to enjoy the game itself. It's not necessary that full ground, and it's a rolling substitution again.
This whole concept of short attention spans is crazy in sport.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
So, yeah, and we are taking that step at Sikh Union Club. We are going to invest into that. Maybe within a year or so, we will see to this and have this. If you have to have the infrastructure, and as I mentioned, just in and around Parklands here, we got 35 schools. Some private corporate companies or sponsorships, and they can come up and rental those if they don't. Schools don't have money, and at least put up the infrastructure there and make some money back or whatever. But it just gives a chance to the kids to play.
And how important is this? Hockey 5. Spoke with Kano Randiek some time back when Hockey 5 was introduced. How well is it? How much can be done so that it's played more in schools? I know it works a lot, especially on your close skills.
Right. Yeah. But again, it's it could be a good addition to the school itself. But again, you need the artificial turf. So that budgets are tight on everyone, but as I said, the corporates or other multinational companies can step up here, and like we have with the Indian government, the sports exchange programs and all that, and I'm sure India can help us out here. All they need to is approached.
Oh, yes, actually, saw something last week. I think Kennedy Boyer is on the board of Cricket Kenya.
Yes.
He was in India and met the High Commissioner. How does this work? Because, for example, you've had a coach from India for about 3 months with you.
Yeah. Well, for Sikh Union Club, that was privately funded by the club and by the well-wishers of the hockey fraternity. So, but for the national teams, I think we have a trade agreement with the Indian government, and they have never shied away to support Kenya in any which way they can. And if approached rightly, I think we can benefit from that.
Well, and now, Narinder, as we get to this, how does one now reach out to you and register for whatever sport they want, whether it be cricket, badminton, squash, or hockey?
Well, one way it's straight at Sikh Union Club. We have the offices there. You could go and register there for the academy, and you'll be told the times and the dates and how we go on. And then the coaches do their first assessment on you, and then from there on we move.
I mean, you're part of the coaching. Just tell me, how you do, because you said you do this assessment. How do you do it? Because eventually, you've got the backs, you've got the forwards, you've got the half-backs.
Well, couple of things. Any sport, footwork is most important. Strength in your lower body, it's needed. So we do normal warm-ups and stretching and things like that, and see the kids, how they're running, what is their weakness. Kids have a habit, someone will just run flat-footed, put the legs on the side, yeah. And if that habit is not changed then, they might grow up to be as quick as our 100 meters champion here.
Omanyala.
Look at him, his dedication. But he's running the other way. He could be quick, but that's not the right way. So he has to be trained from that young age to lift your knees up high, and you're running in a proper proportion kind of way.
Well, quite interesting, because I know there's a coach who once said, well, once this guy gets his running straight, I think he's going to be unstoppable. The other one, how do you assess someone, and for example, you are a left winger, and decide that this guy's a good defender, this one's good offensively, the other one's a thinker somewhere in the midfield?
Well, with modern hockey nowadays, it's any forwards, it's not permanent positions that you're going to be a left wing and you just play on the left wing. Yeah, you could be running on the right, and you could be crisscrossing each other and all that. But as the game's requirements and what is hockey today, so every player has to know how to receive the ball here or receive the ball here, how to turn this way, how to turn that way, so which fits you all. Someone with the good skills and a good shot, a good eye, I would go for a forward. And someone who's really strong at the back, who tackles good, we'll take him as a defender.
Now, here comes the craziest position. And tell me how you work on these guys. A hockey goalkeeper. This person is basically loaded. Looks like a mascot. The weight they have is just massive. I mean, and it's increasing over the years. Right. How do you train them?
Well, as the game has evolved quite a bit, and the speed, the ball takes a shot at power and all that, so has the equipment. In our days, I remember our goalkeeper, late Mutinda, he used to have bamboo pads. Yeah, bamboo, so heavy. But these nowadays, they're foam, but they're light. Yeah, they're dense, high density foam, and then they're light. And the training, it's all gone one-on-one, and it is intense for the keepers, because it's just jumping up, down, up, here, there, and they go through a rigorous training programs there.
With about 10 kgs of that.
Yeah, with the kids, you could see if a kid can kick with his left leg and the right leg, you can pick him up. This guy can use both of his legs to kick that ball. And most of the kids you'll just find kicking with the right leg or left leg. Yeah. So.
And eventually, how do you get them fit and agile?
Cross country. Cross country, running. Yeah. So cross country is something where it from our days, it's even till today. I wake up in the morning. I go for I don't run, but I do my morning walks. It's a discipline. You need to wake up early. Most of the kids nowadays, it's very hard, but slowly as we have the Tigers, now they start understanding. So every Saturday morning, we start our cross country from Sikirin Club up to Gertrude's Hospital, Muthaiga, and back, boys and girls.
Well, I'll tell you, anybody who has done cross country and when playing for a sport, that is what they hated most, unless you are an athlete. Unless you were in athletics, everyone hated cross country. And I'll just tell you a story. If you wanted the best hockey stick, you had to be quite fast.
Yeah.
And that's the one you'll pick and go train with in the evening.
Right.
That was, it just put a lot of discipline into that. Overall, the future for Kenyan sport, the right way forward as we conclude?
As I said, the talent is all there from the grassroots levels. All we need to do is, through the national bodies and the county bodies, to invest our time and money, infrastructure, to get to the people here. And again, in any sport, discipline. And there was somebody who asked once, what does discipline mean? And it's something you hate to do. Something you hate to do, but you do it. That's discipline.
Well,
you hate to run cross country, but you run it.
That's discipline.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we had to get into that discipline. Otherwise, you'd have to pick the worst hockey stick at the gate as you are getting back to school and train with it in the evening. So you had to do it. Thank you very much, Coach Narinder Singh Chana. He is the managing director of the Simba Sports Academy based in Nairobi at the Sikh Union Club. Hockey, cricket, badminton, and squash is what they're doing. Started with 3 kids 5 years ago. Now they're over 220 all training. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
We take a short break, and when we come back, 2 more conversations. 1, Box Girls Kenya nominated for the Laureus Sport for Good Award for the 2nd time. Bararukumu is going to be linking us, giving us that link, telling their story, and we'll be talking golf this weekend. We've got the Windsor Classic. We're joined by Shimo Dubey, who's captain of Windsor Golf Club, and pro golfer Riz Charania, who can tell us, all about how the pros and the amateurs work around this. After this short break.
Thank you.
Listen up.
Hello everyone and welcome to Engine.
How do we hear? How do we see? What makes up the air we breathe?
Let's go.
It's technology.
Let's go. Let's grow.
Science, you and me.
Let's know.
We're learning every day.
Let's ask, let's learn, and let's love.
And don't forget to make it fun.
Jenny, you're pretty good.
You really haven't improved at all, Piggy.
What did you call me? Who told you that name?
Well, that's good.
But we really can't get lost again.
Yeah, I know.
So I was thinking, if something happened to you, I could help. Oh my, what clothes are you wearing? Lover's clothes? They're so ugly. What?
I have to be honest. I'm not sure how much longer I can hide this.
Wacha kunificha. Wewe ni mtu najua tangu. Wewe si mtu wa kukaa kwa nyumba 24 hours.
Tulia, relax. Unaenda wapi?
Yuko wapi?
Nani?
Melissa yuko wapi?
Tulia, Melissa atakuja kukuona.
Sijakufa.
Kwa hivyo utajaribu kujiua tena?
Sasa inajua umeona venye wife amekufanya. Unajua vitu kama hizi saa zingine si take for granted.
Mbona unaonekana nikaa umjui?
Ni kama simjui, lakini najua utanieleza baadaye.
Mimi mwanaume, kuna vitu mingi wanafaa kusort. Na chapa yote umetumia lazima ndakurudishia.
Zigi no.
Hii story tumemaliza.
Uli matopi wewe na wewe ni nini?
Mimi ulinipotelea nikajiuliza sasa hizi ni mashita gani? Wewe unajua wewe ndio ulikuwa best friend wangu hizi siku zote.
What to go? Nakwambia ule matope kumbe ile kitu iko na sibiti. Ili kocha sibiti yake kumbe ni 2000 km/h. Ili nikaongeza hapo bongo ikachikana na small intestine ikachikana na bone marrow.
Sitaki kuestiwa time. Wewe umekuja hapa, si uko na kitu cha kusema?
Niko nayo.
Si uniambie nasikiza, I can as well multitask.
Nani ajui? Nani aelewi story zako?
Nyama. Ati nini?
Haujui? Hakuna mtu mwenye.
Wewe.
Nini?
Welcome back to Sports Check. My name is Daniel Wahome. Having conversations around sport, just one about talent development. And next, we shall be talking golf. The Windsor Classic, the second event on the 2023 Kenya Amateur Golf Championship calendar. The first one was the Sigona Bowl. And a lot going to be happening this weekend, the 3rd to the 5th, 3 days, and all the elite amateur, the top amateur golfers looking for the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship points. And also we shall be joining Bernard Okumu, who is out in Nairobi and is going to be speaking with Box Girls Kenya. They have been nominated for the 2023 Laureus Awards, and this is in the Sport for the Sport for Good Award. My apologies. And they run a program around empowering girls out in Korogocho, in some of the poor neighborhoods in Nairobi, and so using boxing training and peer coaching. So Bernard Okumu is going to be talking to them, and that is going to be joining us via TVU later. But in studio with me, I have got two gentlemen. One's a professional golfer. On my immediate left, we've got professional golfer Riz Charania. Riz, pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got the captain of the Windsor Golf and Golf Hotel and Country Club, Simo Dubajic. I hope I got that right.
Morning, Wahome. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I mean the names from the part of the world where you come from what was known as Yugoslavia. At times we always have our own way of pronouncing them, but it's all good. Captain, let me just start with you. This having to host this second event of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship, the Windsor Classic. It's something that, as a captain, that's one of the busiest weekends for you.
True that. Indeed. Windsor Classic has traditionally always attracted many top players, top amateurs of the country. We are expecting draw will close on 96 entries due to a little bit of new approach that has been structured in partnership with the Kenya Golf Union. This year we are looking to close the draw with 10.6, that's the maximum handicap index. We believe it's going to drop lower due to interest, and this year also first time ever there will be ladies playing in this tournament as well. We also have 30 professionals that will compete for the prize at Windsor Classic. So it is busy week, and we are looking forward to host this event.
Well, when this draw is being done for the 96, if you're talking about the elite ladies, we can already have a guess. I think they were all at Vipingo for the LTE, so those are the ones you'll be picking. Overall, when it comes to the field, is it men only, or do you include the lady golfers within the field?
This time it will be mixed. It will be mixed. Of course, everyone plays off his respective tee box. However, draw will mix pros with amateurs and ladies as well.
So Riz, this is where I'd like to bring you in because I know the pros are definitely calling you saying, okay, how do we get in here? What's the criteria for the professionals that would be interested?
So basically, Wahome, what happened this year is I think because of the interest in terms of combining amateur and professional golf in the country, I think it only makes sense that these kind of events are the stage to have everyone together for two reasons. One is obviously to build the development of the sport so that we have pros interacting with amateurs, with ladies, with juniors, and so on and so forth. And two, also as a build-up to the Magical Kenya Open coming up, it's also a good way to prepare. Generally, in my opinion, there has been a gap between professional and amateur golf in the past, and I think it'll be a great this is going to be a great platform, I think, to launch something different, something new, and what better place to do it than Windsor?
Actually, now you talk about this gap. Just clarify on that, because I'm trying to think of let me see, Dennis Mara, who's or Jay Santu,
yes,
and then there's your likes and Dismas in design, and Greg's that kind of crop. Where's the gap?
So I think where the gap is, we have not been playing with the elite amateur golfers enough to be able to act as role models for them, and also to compete against them, to basically show what the pro level is like. They can now basically fight it out with the pros and just have a check on where their level is. Are they at that level where now they can consider turning professional? So it's a very, very good way to check where your level is. The only way to do that is compete against the best. Yeah.
Now, the other one, and this is where it comes for you, captain. It's always known as the captain's headache. The awards, sticking within the rules of amateur golf, and the awards that come for each event. Just tell us about this prize structure that you've got.
Again, this is going to be first time ever that amateurs will compete for cash prize. Traditionally, it was always golf goodies, shoes, golf bags and the rest, but likes
the trophy
and trophy, but likes of Jay Sandu, I think they have so many of those in their cupboard. So we decided to put this year cash prize kitty is 500,000, 500,000 shillings. Cash prize for pros is 200,000. Ladies will participate in this bigger kitty. So at least when someone, and it's within the regulations on the maximum prize money, which is, I think, winner this year is going to walk away with 110,000 shillings.
So that's about what? It's about $1,000 or something.
Roughly, yeah.
How has that changed, by the way, the introduction of prize money into amateur golf? Because it's expensive to be on tour doing 18, 19 events a year.
Exactly, and as I said, these events, they don't only attract best Kenyan golfers, they also attract golfers. We had 6 representatives from 6 countries last year at Windsor Classic. So at least this prize money will kind of cater for caddy's fee, entry fee, and of course some bonuses depend on the performance.
Okay. All right, that is Simon Tubech. He's the captain of the Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club, and we're with Riz Charania. Now, gentlemen, let me just take a break, and let's go out and join our reporter, Bernard Okumu, who's out there, and he is speaking with Box Girls Kenya. They've been nominated for the Sport for Good Award for the 2023 Laureus Academy Awards. Basically, Laureus, we're talking about the Oscars of sport. This is their 2nd nomination. And Okumu, let's now move over to Kariobangi, because that's where Box Girls are, and that's their gym where they're training under Coach Priest.
Thank you so much, Daniel Wahome, of course, from the sports check team. And of course, we are here in Kariobangi North, where the Box Girls, an association that's formed majorly is comprised of boxers coming from this neighborhood. And the main objective of this particular association or boxing club that was begun roughly in 2008 is to empower women and also to empower the youth and the young in this particular neighborhood to actually tap into the power of the sport and use it so as to, help the young ones and help those who come from this particular neighborhood overcome disadvantage in life and also achieve their goals and ambitions as far as using the game of boxing. And also what's more interesting is that this particular association, which has like 15 years in existence, has like 10 zones, of course, in Mathare North and several of the estates in surrounding areas. That's in Mathare, Huruma, Dandora, and many others. A total of rough number could be like 50 boxers come here to spar and also to just dream, see if they can achieve their goals and ambitions by wearing the gloves. And one of the boxers who has actually put this particular association on the pedestal, mentioning about she has like 4 titles, and she'll be having a major fight in May, a WBF title. That's Sarah Acheng. She is the Angel of 4. She's here with me and speaking to me about her preparations for the upcoming bout. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Check this lovely mid-morning. Yes, and it's great to be here. What does it take? Does it take sweat and tears every time to?
Yeah, it takes sweat, and tears, sweat, dedication, blood and tears. Sometimes we cry, sometimes we shed blood, sometimes we are just normal. So yeah, it's take a lot.
Yeah, and when you're shedding blood and it's tears, I mean, is it painful? I know it's a stupid question, but is it?
Yeah, sometimes it's painful because when you are doing a sparring, you never know. How the sparring is going to come out. Maybe your opponent is sometimes stronger than you, or sometimes you become careless, you don't guard up. So sometimes you find that when you are being hit and you are being hit through the target, that is where you find maybe sometimes the blood come out. And many times when you are training also you have to sweat all the time. Yeah.
Yes, of course. If no pain, then there is no gain. And also, Sarah, you began here, at the age of 18. You picked on the gloves, and it's been an interesting journey for you. Several accomplishments. You're the role model of the young ones in this particular gym, I'm very sure. How has it been for you with boxing girls? We say that their main aim is to help people, the young ones in this neighborhood and any other neighborhood, to achieve their dreams using boxing. Is this what it is from your side?
Yeah, I would say us as a Box Girls organization, we began in 2008 when I was just sitting back at home and doing nothing. So the organization has really helped us to become who we are. Like me, for example, I started when nobody knew about Sarah. And right now, I'm a world champ. People can hear my story. So we vision as an organization to see a society which every girl holds the power to create opportunity for herself and others. What do I mean? Opportunity was created for me through the coach, the founder of Box Girls, Alfred Arnold. And right now, I'm a player, I'm a coach. I also have mentored many young girls who come from marginalized community of different communities that we work with. And right now, they are also the ones who have come now to give back even to other young girls. So we normally reach. Our target group are girls from the age of 8 to 23. So like in here every Saturday and even sometimes Sunday, we have so many girls who are coming to take Box Girls as a career and also just to train and also to know how they can use these boxing skills to help them overcome their day-to-day life situation. Yeah.
I mean, you talked about your story, becoming a world champion, and you just being in a position. Very few people are in a position to tell their story to the world, and now you're now a coach again, so you're seeing the young ones coming up and you can see the story, you can see their story. What does this make you feel?
it makes me feel that even in Kariobangi we can make a difference. Our dreams are valid, and we can become who we wish to become. It doesn't have to be that it doesn't have to stop where we are. We are aiming high, and we know our girls have brighter future. If Sarah can come from this area and Sarah can become a world champ, what about that other girl?
And also maybe Sarah, looking at all the reasons why this particular Boxing Girls Association is here, because the neighborhood is not, there are challenges of the young ones when they are growing up, the early pregnancies, there's crime, there's drugs and all that, How easy is it for you to get, for one, to encourage the young ones, to tell them there's a danger lying ahead even before they get there?
So we normally don't just teach the girls on how to box and it ends there. We equip them with the skills on how they can use even boxing itself to overcome the challenges, like to stay out of early marriage. When they come and they train, they can maybe be hired with police or even soldiers. They can turn to become professional boxers. It doesn't have to stop in Kariobangi. That is our message. So they, through the skills that we are trying to equip them with, they are able to overcome early marriages. They come out of using even the drugs, because you cannot take a drug and come even to train. It will not work for you.
Then of course you have a major fight coming up in May. Talk about it.
So we have a major fight that is coming up in May 5th. It is a big fight. This is the first and the most, and the one that is going to make an history in Kenya. It has never been brought here, the World Boxing Foundation. So through my participation and even the rank that I have has qualified me to vie for this belt. So I'm calling upon Kenyan people to come and support us on May 5th. Come and see the Angel of War, which is going to be against Kenya versus US. And this belt is ours and it's going to remain in Kenya. Nobody come and mess with Angel of War in my territory. This is my territory.
Unless if they do that, what's the price that they gonna pay? What's the price that they pay if they come and
pay you?
Angel of course, fighting against Mendes. Her name is already out, and that particular fight, how important is it for you, this particular fight?
This fight is very important for me in regards to other fights that I've been looking forward to have, and we have been having a challenge even for having visa. There are 3 international fights that I was supposed to go and participate in, and it has never happened because of the issue of challenges that we have in regards to the visa, and even the opponents wananiguaya, sometimes wanna pull out from the fight. So this time round, tunaomba even from the promoter who can come out and even support this, but kwa sababu tunataka tucheze huku nyumbani. Kama wanatuogopa huko, we are calling upon them wakuje Kenya. We are ready for them and looking forward to have them in Kenya.
Okay, all the best. Angel of Four, Sarah Chieng, she's a champion, has 4 titles, and also she'll be fighting in WBF title bout. That's in May, as she has mentioned. But of course, there are several people who are always behind the sweat and the tears that we always see apart from the boxers, and these are the coaches. And one of the coaches, of course, who's been so instrumental in nurturing and shaping up talents here is Anjere Andalo. I'd like really to take a walk and go for him, but here he is, Anjere Andalo. He's one of the coaches who have been so instrumental. Coach, karibu sana on Sports Check. Anjere Andalo is the coach who handles Anjere Andalo. Nalo, yes. Coach, they call you the priest, and it looks like your work is really to spiritual, give them like a boxing spirit, to instill boxing spirit in them. Coach, how has it been for you with the young upcoming boxers here?
It has been a long journey, putting into consideration the sports, boxing itself, and it being a professional sport, we have very many obstacles and challenges that also contribute into the quality of the sport. We have champions, we have boxers who are very good, upcoming boxers, and we have also champions. But then we are also appealing to the stakeholders, like the ones who can make it big also so that the sport can grow. The corporates and sponsors, all these kind of people, to come on board and build the professional boxing and take it to where it is. You see like our neighbor Tanzania here, Kenya is a big brother to Tanzania. But in boxing, Tanzania is a big brother to Kenya because they are so much advanced. The corporates is very much into sponsoring the fights, and there's no so much of hula balloons in the sport. So I'm calling upon also the sponsors to come on board. Sarah is going to have a very big fight in May. It's a world title fight, WBF, World Boxing Foundation, the first and the one and only that has happened so many years. It will be history in the making. She'll be going for her 5th title belt. She's the angel of war. So I'm calling for all Kenyans to look out for that day, because all roads will be leading to that fight. And I can assure you, the belt is not going to go anywhere. The belt will remain here.
How important is the fight? How important is that particular WBF fight to not only Sarah but to Kenya as well, to Kenyan boxing?
It is very important to Sarah first because it will be a world title, and it will be her 5th belt, and it will also add up to her status in terms of boxing. And for the country at large, it will be also a very big statement that we have a champion in the making in this country, who is none other than the angel of war, Sarah Achieng. Yes.
And coach, what does it take for you to raise up the young aspiring boxers who are here? You know, it's never easy because, again, boxing gives them the world under their feet, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of passion, dedication, and sacrifice to do what I'm doing. Because you see, many coaches and many other people, they're into this sport because of money. But for me, I put money behind, and I put the sports and talent of the youth before. Because I know boxing is never played in well-privileged areas. Boxing is a sport that is for the non-privileged people. And so it takes a lot of sacrifice for any coach. It takes a lot of passion and dedication, to bring champions.
The bare knuckle sport, right?
Yes.
And also maybe, coach, all this has been, the recognition that has just come, the news that we have right now about the Laureus World Sports nomination. The nomination, whether Box Girls will bring home the trophy or not, it's a big honor, right?
It is a very big honor. I'm optimistic that due to the kind of work we do with the community, because Box Girls is an organization. Apart from the boxing that you see here, there's a lot of things that is going on around within the Box Girls itself, in the community. We have school outreach programs, and we have our vision as Box Girl is to create a world where every girl has a platform to create opportunity for herself and for others. And the mission is to create a world where every girl and woman lives a dignified life in secure communities, and they are valued as equal partners with equal opportunities. So that's what we are striving to do, and bring it in the community and the kids we work with in the schools holistically.
Yes. And Jerry Analo, the head coach of the Box Girls in Kariobangi North, of course, telling us about the preparations that Sarah Achieng is undergoing, as well as the expectations on the nomination that Glorious Global Awards. Of course, I'll be compiling this and other report, detailed report of this particular, their training and how geared are they for the championship in our subsequent bulletins at 7 and 9. Back to you, Daniel Wahome, for the continuation of Sports Check.
Thank you very much, Bernard Okumu, reporting from Kariobangi, and this is at the Box Girls training gym. And Box Girls have been nominated for the 2nd time for the Laureus Sport for Good Award. It's not every time you get nominated. So there are other organizations that have been nominated. One from South Africa, one from India that deals with soccer. The South African one is multi-sport. One for extreme sport from Germany. And we've got Box Girls also of Kenya. So we shall know about the award when it is done. Now, before we get back to a sporting conversation, let's listen to Principal Secretary Kiprono Rono, who is talking to the Parliamentary Departmental Committee on Fisheries and the Blue Economy, and they're meeting with the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation to deliberate on the budget policy statement for 2023.
I think we'll go through. And here, as I think as the CS said, we had also introduced a program called Water 10,000 program, which we were to put in the budget, but we are waiting for the vote from the National Treasury, so that once they give us the vote and approve it, I think we'll be able to introduce that particular program to sort out the many issues we are getting now when it comes to emergencies and drought mitigation. For me, I think these are detailed analysis. I want to allow, if you allow, to give to Water Secretary to now take us to the details and then engage, as we engage the CEOs for each specific program as captured in the budget. So, Engineer Lima.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Through the CS, I'll take you through from slide number 8. Slide number 8 is analysis of resource requirements and versus allocation by program. So like the first one is general administration, planning and support services. Printed estimates for 2023, 2022, 2023. Then we have resource requirement for 2022, 2023, 2024. And then we have resource allocation for 2023, 2024. So general administration, planning and support services, printed estimate is indicated there, 814 million. Capital requirement is 866, a total of 1.68. That is in the printed estimates for 2022, 2023. Then resource requirement, the current is 985, capital is 1.070, total is 2.055. Allocation for 2023-2024, the current is 726, capital is 420, and total is 1.146. Water resources management is also indicated in that column, in that row. Printed estimate 2022-2023 is 1.297. Capital is 26.88.
Well, that is the Principal Secretary in the State who was the Kiprono, and this is the Departmental Committee on the Blue Economy and Fisheries meeting with the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation to deliberate on the 2023 budget policy statement. But we'll be giving us that report after that meeting at the Windsor Hotel. Well, interestingly enough, we got guests from Windsor in studio, so they're just wondering, hey, what's going on there back home, but they want to be on the course. On my immediate left, we've got the resident professional golfer at Windsor, Riz Charania. He's also been part of the leadership of the Professional Golfers of Kenya. And we've got Simon Tobaich. He's the captain of Windsor. And we've got the Windsor Classic this weekend, a big tournament, and there's a prize fund for the pros. He's just explained that. And now Captain, let me just come to you. And Windsor, it's a championship course. And it gives an opportunity for, these golfers to be there first. We know it's been dry. Everyone in the country, it could have been parched. But just give us an outlook of what the course is at the moment and how you intend to set it up for the weekend.
I won't go that far, but the course is playing very well. I think we are fortunate. We had enough water. We've been watering course almost twice a day, and greens as well. So at the moment, greens are a little bit slow, but we are working on that towards the weekend. It will be a different story, and I think Windsor is challenging on its own. So just stay on the fairway and you're good.
Riz, just basically tell us where this. When you're playing out there, where for these elite amateurs, they could be won, could be lost.
So I think with Windsor, the way the golf course is designed it's more of a strategy golf course because it's a tight a golf course built through a forest. So I think in terms of how you manage your way around the golf course is going to be key this weekend. It's not a golf course where you stand up and just bomb driver and you'll get away with it. There's no margin of error at Windsor. I was basically pretty much brought up on that golf course. And I've learnt the hard way yes. through all my experiences on what's the best way to play that golf course. And also, it also brings out a very different character in you as a player when you go to golf courses that are long and difficult. The way you adapt your game to be able to play different golf courses. I mean, the magical Kenya Open's coming up at Muthaiga. That's also a different style of golf course. So, going from Windsor to Muthaiga, you would have to be able to adapt your strategy. Try to get, the main thing is trying to understand the greens, the breaks on the greens. So I think my advice to the guys going in there this weekend is really, when you go out there and play your practice round, be defensive. It's a golf course that you need to be defensive from the tee. The greens are not as tricky or as challenging as Muthaiga. So I think that's where mainly you should be able to score.
Well, and Captain, let me look at the inclusion of the ladies. Naomi Wafula, Jackie, Walter, and Njiro from Kiambu. How much is the having these top ladies here, because they meet your threshold, the handicap cutoff? How good is it for them to play at this elite level?
I think is going to be challenging, because playing of the course 2 at Windsor for ladies is very new experience on its own. However, ladies which they sign in for this competition, they're very, very good golfers, and I am sure they will produce a good result.
Well, I'll tell you, Naomi Wafula, she made cut and won the amateur salva, and this was at the Magical Kenya Open. And Riz, for the pros, this is another opportunity, I know, to do it. But what's the scene like for the pros at the moment, and these opportunities to play at the KAGC events?
So I think this will be great, because as we know, the KAGC calendar is a little bit more populated than the pro calendar.
I think I was counting they play every 2 or 3 weeks.
Exactly. So with the pro circuit at the moment, we only have the Safari Tour, which is generally a pretty short season leading up to Kenya Open. Then after the Kenya Open, basically there are not many events for the pros to play in. So I think if we can partner and somehow come to an agreement with the KAGC series, it would be a fantastic move forwards to be able to continuously, sharpen the skills, because you're playing in competitive golf week in, week out. So for me, I mean, I think this is a step in the right direction. I think the pros will also appreciate, and be a little bit more motivated to continue practicing, even though the Kenya Open is over. We still have events to play in. So I think this is a good move.
And for you pros, it's very interesting. This country, we've got, most of you are actually not tour pros, you're actually club pros, which means you're coaching a lot. Just give us that perspective and how you balance, between this and the tour.
So it's a difficult balance, because I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to put food on the table.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I stopped touring in 2018 and focused more on the coaching side of it.
You picked the time when I think you just made cut at the cave.
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
Living when you're at the top.
Yes. So I did travel to Europe, played about 6 events back to back. Fantastic experience. And it very quickly hit me that, to be able to compete at this level, even though I knew I could compete at this level, but the travel, the fitness levels, the concentration levels, all of those are the things that I was lacking personally. And when I looked at myself versus a typical tour player is practicing 6 to 8 hours a day. It's a daily job, basically. They have a full team around them. You've got nutritionists, you've got physiotherapists, you've got fitness coaches, you've got swing coaches, short game coaches. You have a whole team around you to be able to make sure that you perform at your best. For me, I tried as hard as I could with my own resources to be able to compete at that level, and I personally tried to put together a team to help me. It did take me to a certain level where I had never played before. In terms of my fitness levels, my game itself was improving. I wish that I could have had another season out there on the tour just to take it to the next level. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So just going back to the Kenyan pros who are in that gray area where you're not a touring professional and you're not a club professional, and where do you stand? Ultimately, I mean, the only way to be able to decide that is once we have a substantial tour in the country where we can play up to 25 events in a year for decent amounts of money, then you can start thinking, especially as a young child or a young kid who wants to become a professional golfer in this country, they need somewhere to look up to see, is there an end goal? If I turn professional in this country, will I be able to sustain a living? Which is the key question. Can I sustain a living? We have many good talented juniors, which also we see they kind of fall off the map because in this country golf does not bear fruits like it would in another country, at that level. So I think we are slowly getting there. I mean, the Junior Golf Foundation now have taken a big step in partnering with the US Kids Golf, which now we are seeing them produce many golfers. But I think the roadmap going forwards from this US Kids, how do we develop the kids into playing into a sustainable tour in this country?
Well, Raiz Charani is a professional golfer. And Captain, now let me just talk about this. The Windsor Classic. Just tell us, basically about the format and the mix of entries, because we are seeing Uganda amateurs coming to play in the Kenyan circuit a lot.
As I mentioned, even in the earlier previous competitions at the Classic, we had 6-7 different nationals playing at the playing competition. So it's not new, but I also think that prize money is also attractive, as I mentioned earlier, and is going to, for sure, if we continue doing this, is going to change the landscape and is going to attract amateurs not just from the region, but maybe even beyond. So for sure, I have to. None of this will be actually possible if you don't have good sponsors like Glenlivet, Tika Motors dealers, Isuzu dealers, Mivida, Homes, and few others, which they are really supporting these events, and I think we can only just make it bigger and better in days to come.
All right. That's Simon. He's the captain of the Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club, the Windsor Classic this weekend. It's the second event on the calendar of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship. We shall be moving over to the Safari Park Hotel, where there is a women's economic forum, and the theme is getting women involved in Kenya's economic recovery. Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa, who is the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Affirmative Action and Gender, is speaking. Let's listen in.
Of our maiden IWD on the 2nd of March, and the chief guest will be the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Na nataka niseme ya kwamba Mheshimiwa Rais amechukulia sana masuala ya kina mama, ameyapea kipaumbele, na ndio maana hii siku alisema si ya kina mama tu, but yeye as a champion of the gender equality and women empowerment atafika na atatuongoza katika shughuli hii. So nawaalika nyinyi wote, and please promote your tailor. Promote your tunakuja tukiwa hivi African women. So it gives me a great pleasure to be here with you today to participate in this conference. My appreciation goes to conveners of this important occasion for recognizing that women empowerment is a key component that propels sustainable development in all sectors. For this administration, women's economic empowerment is at the heart of our development agenda as envisioned in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance Women Charter. We are committed to leave no one behind as we engage women through advancing the Kenya Kwanza 9-point agenda on the gender equality and women's empowerment. Therefore, this conference themed Getting Women Involved in Kenya's Economic Recovery is timely. The Kenya Kwanza government economic model is based on the framework of bottom-up economic transformation agenda, into brackets BETTER, which set out the administration's priority programs, policies, and reforms. We are currently finalizing the preparation of the fourth medium-term plan, 2023-2027, of the Kenya Vision 2030 that will prioritize implementation of economic recovery strategies of the new administration to reposition the economy on a steady, inclusive, and sustainable growth trajectory. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya's economic recovery efforts are against a backdrop of global economic slowdown and pinned by the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, elevated coal inflation and effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and persistent supply chain disruption and the drought effect that have created urgency of food security and climate change effects. This urgency allows us to focus investment on mitigation, adaptation, and farm resilience. As the effect of COVID-19 pandemic started to fade away, the Kenya economy bounced back, recording a GDP growth rate of 7.5% in 2021, propelled by heavy public investments in public infrastructure. However, the momentum has been slowed again by the Russian-Ukraine conflict that has disrupted gold trade through increased fuel, fertilizer, and food prices. For the first time in 5 years, inflation rate in Kenya is above government target, range mainly driven supply side constraint occasioned by the external shocks as well as drought effects. In addition, the drought impacts in the economy has created a strong focus on food security and climate change. This effect will become dominant in economic management and focusing on its quality and structure. We have witnessed how it has reserved effort in poverty reduction and inequality, but above all, promoted social conflicts. These effects are compounded and amplified by declining manufacturing productivity, skewed access to finance and business development, business regulatory framework, weak governance, and physical risk, including pensions liabilities, stalled projects, payment arrears, and high debt service that hindered the economy from achieving its full potential. Ladies and gentlemen, the need to address these constraints and bolster resilience forms the basis of Kenya Kwanza government bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The agenda is geared towards economic turnaround and inclusive growth and aims to increase investment in at least 5 sectors and envisage to have the largest impact and linkages to the economy as well as on household welfare. The key 5 sectors include agricultural transformation, micro, small, and medium enterprise, housing and settlement, healthcare, digital superhighway, and creative industry. Special focus will be placed on increased employment, more equitable distribution of income, social security, while also expanding the tax revenue base and increase foreign exchange earnings. The implementation of these interventions is expected to stimulate economic recovery to 6.1% growth in 2023 from the estimated 5.5% in 2022. But more importantly, improve the quality of growth from public sector investment-led growth to a dynamic private sector-led growth. Against this backdrop, and in line with this conference objectives, it is my hope that the discussions during this convening will offer tangible solutions on inclusive growth, especially on the role of women in Kenya's economic recovery. From our end, the government has put in place various measures to promote inclusive growth and enhance women participation in labor market and enterprise. First, to promote women in micro and small enterprises, the government has allocated 50% of the 50 billion Hustler Fund to women-owned enterprises. Further, we have Affirmative Action Fund, which include Uwezo Fund, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, Youth Enterprise Fund, the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority, and Women Enterprise Fund. We are currently remodeling Women Enterprise Fund to provide a digital platform with short-term credit and innovative products. Further, we are in the process of innovating the fund's product to conform to the 5 priorities, that is agriculture, SMEs, healthcare, housing and settlements, and ICT and creative economy. I therefore encourage women entrepreneurs to take advantage of these funds and fully participate in government priorities area, projects, and program. Second, the government is fully enforcing the access to government procurement opportunities, into bracket, AGPO, that requires all public agencies to reserve 30% of procurement opportunities to women, youth, and persons living with disabilities. To increase the uptake, WEF LPO financing is available to women traders to facilitate the AGPO individual and groups to undertake procurement opportunities within government. Emphasis is on ensuring women-owned enterprises automatically qualify for LPO financing. It is our country's best model of promoting women in business, and various countries have visited Kenya to benchmark. Third, the Kenya's digital superhighway master plan of the government is a noble area of focus. The importance of technology and digital trading is boosting women economic empowerment cannot be underscored. In partnership with African Union, the 50 million African Women Speak digital platform was developed and launched in Kenya early last year. The platform has the potential to accelerate women participation in inter-county and across-border trade for greater networking across the border. The ministry responsible for ICT has also established ICT hubs in almost all constituencies in the counties to promote digital trading. Women are urged to utilize various digital platforms to enhance their business activities. Fourth, the Intergovernmental Relations Act 2012 provides a framework of engagement between the national and county governments. The ministry has established and launched the Intergovernmental Coordination Structure on Gender, which has a legal mandate to coordinate gender development between national and county governments. These intergovernmental coordination structures on gender culminate in the establishment of various frameworks such as gender sector working groups, which coordinate development partners, implementing gender equality and women empowerment. I believe that women entrepreneurs will utilize these existing structures to increase the women's participation in the economic empowerment through bottom-up economic model. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, the informal sector employs more than 70% of the Kenyans, majority of who are women in medium in key sectors of our country's economy. I take cognizance that the thematic areas in this conference will enhance genesis of visionary women economic empowerment. When women have a source of income, there are no path to becoming a health and empowered economic actor. Women who are able to decide where, when, and how to spend their income see improvements in their social and economic status and the level of resources devoted to their children. To conclude, I wish to appreciate and thank all organizations represented in this forum for your commitment in joining us today as we exchange ideologies that champion women economic empowerment in our beloved country. I wish you fruitful deliberations and looking forward to reading the outcome document from this meeting. It is now my pleasure to declare this conference officially opened. Thank you. God bless you all. Asanteni sana kwa kunipa masikio yenu. Na nataka tu kuachia neno moja ya kwamba as we lay down our strategy.
Well, that is the Cabinet Secretary, Public Service, Affirmative Action and Gender, the Honorable Aisha Jumwa, speaking at the Women's Economic Forum 2023, getting women involved in Kenya's economic recovery. That's a conference that's taking place at the Safari Park Hotel. That's today and tomorrow. Ruth Wombo is our reporter at that event. We get back to a golfing conversation, and this is about the Windsor Classic. It's a Kenya Amateur Golf Championship event taking place from the 3rd to the 5th of March at the Windsor Hotel, and we're with Riz Charania. He is the resident pro. He's on my immediate left, and also we've got the captain this time round, Simo Dubaich. And Simo, let's first, you've mentioned about, how big it is, and including all of these people. Some dramatic things we've seen at Windsor. For example, I was just looking back history, John Legirma and Mike Kisia in a playoff after they got tied. Just tell us about, what kind of competitive score you would expect from the Windsor course. Because, it's a championship course designed for that, but also there's a resort aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely Windsor is not going to treat competitors easy and smooth. It is going to definitely give them opportunity to and drain out of them the best. So I was just arguing with Riz what is going to be a score, and he's saying it may be +1 or +2. I will go for maybe -3, -4.
Riz, maybe you could respond to that.
So I'm just going with hard facts, with the scores that have been produced in the past. I think also, in order to give the players a chance to score, I think the golf course setup needs to be fair. Pin positions need to be fair. Usually we go by the guideline of 6 easy, 6 medium, 6 difficult. Sometimes my captain over here goes 12 difficult and 6 harder. No, but I think it'll all come down to the setup of the golf course. If pins are accessible, because I mean we all know the golf course is going to be dry, the greens will be hard. If the pins are accessible, then I agree with the captain, the scores will be pretty low. So it just depends on the course setup.
So without revealing too much, Reece says you make some difficult and then harder. Go by the rule of 12 and 6. But overall, what kind of competitive what kind of setup would you have such that when you have your event, I mean even the club's members feel that they're playing well at the same level as these other guys? The rest of the field that will be there for the prizes.
We do have I think more than 20 members playing this competition, our low handicappers especially. It was always traditional, it was challenge for the members to play such an event over 54 holes and off the course 1. So that's something that Windsor Classic is all about. Secondly, you are mixing with, as I said, top amateurs and the pros now this time, and the ladies. So it's going to be exciting, absolutely exciting event. In the afternoon on Friday and Saturday we had open course for our members and guests as well, to get the feel and look and feel of the environment, which of course it will be followed with the evening ceremonies on each particular day, and final prize giving ceremony is on Sunday, I think at around 1 o'clock.
The implication is that those playing in the KAGC event will have to play in the morning.
Yes, everyone will play in the morning.
Well, let's just take a look at this. Keeping it in this calendar for keeping the Windsor Classic on the KAGC calendar, and the opportunity for your low handicappers to play. What does that mean for the club overall?
Huge. I mean, I think first of all, course plays the best at this time of the year, with all its beauties and of course from the golfing point of view with all its challenges. Secondly, bringing elite of Kenyan golfers, amateur golfers, and this time pros in the same event. It's something that we didn't see that before. I think is going to change the landscape of the game. As Reece mentioned, is going to push amateurs to different level and look at what pros are doing. And end of the day, points that one gets at this event, they qualify. I mean, they participate in your qualifications for Kenya Open, which is I think paramount of golf in Kenya.
Now from the pro side, and this is a conversation because he's mentioned the Kenya Open, from the conversations about the pros and with the DP World Tour now being at the level, how are you learning, for example, to adapt from what could be at the moment it's dry, we hope that it rains at some point, so that we can have lots, it's all the last courses, some always give you something good, but how are you learning to adapt? Because what we saw at Muthaiga last year was very fast greens. Yes. If you stay on the fairway in the middle, you're safe. If you go out onto the rough, you are in the rough. Yeah.
So I mean, like I mentioned before, as a top level professional golfer, you have to be able to adapt. We don't know. It could rain next week and the Kenya Open golf course can change completely. And I think this is where now our guys representing us need to consult with one another, consult with the members of Muthaiga Club who are the good players, get advice, get knowledge from wherever they can, talk to other pros, just try and get the knowledge of what is the best way to tackle this situation, because at the end of the day, we can only feed off each other. We as pros, we have to also be able to talk to one another, understand one another, get perspectives from one another, especially our top players who have competed abroad, because playing abroad is also very, very different. The experience of playing in wind, in rain, in dry altitudes we do have players who have played in these conditions through the past few years. So I think it's important that the pros come together when they are playing their practice rounds, try and play together, try and feed off each other, experiment and try. If I play the course in this way, or if I try this shot, or if I try that shot, how does it work? So getting your strategy in place before you actually tee it up on the Thursday of the Kenya Open is going to be key.
Actually, Wednesday when you go to play the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Now, Captain, let me speak about junior golf, because we can't avoid this. Riza actually mentioned about the US kids golf that's happening. Just tell us about the talent development, and because Riza is also involved as a club pro.
I think we with the US kids coming on board a year ago has changed a lot on the junior side of golf in the country. 47 events was happened from 2020, beginning of 2022 or end of 2021 to actually January this year. Last one, second last was just at Mutaiga. So
you'd make Riz want to be in the kids tour because he wants to play every week.
Every week, exactly.
I think it's big contribution from pros as well, because all these young enthusiastic kids, when they come, they look up to pros, and they look up to their coaches. And definitely having those sessions on the range is completely different now when you go on the course and you compete first of all with course, with yourself, and then you compete against whoever you're playing with. And all these events, they actually pulled a lot of kids into this sport, and I think it's great for the country, it's great for the sport itself. And we are seeing big changes. JGF is doing good stuff. So there are many events this year as well lined up. So we are looking forward to very soon one of our own to win the Kenya Open.
Oh yes, we want to see that. Riz, you've worked within this tour. Eventually, you get engaged.
Yes.
What's been the response to the young golfers?
No, it's been fantastic. So the US Kids partnership happened about a year and a half ago, where their coaches and actually their CEO came down to Kenya to sign the partnership. So we had a number of coaches going through the teaching certifications from the US coaches. I think most clubs now have adopted the US Kids method of teaching. And I think because it's so structured, it's competitive, it's fun. It's basically being a junior on a PGA tour. You're playing week in, week out, you're playing high-level competitions, but most importantly is the kids are playing the golf course that suits their age group and how far they hit the ball. So kids from a young age are understanding what it means to make a birdie or a par. I remember when I was a kid, 9 years old, I was playing off the men's tee, right? That course was a monster for me. At 9 years old, hitting the ball 100 yards. Oh, plenty. So from a young age, if you're making 9s and 10s on a hole, it's no longer fun. And I think this US Kids system has made it so competitive that kids now, once they're putting for birdies, they make their first birdie, there's that excitement. And this pushes them to now be able to shoot scores in the 70s, 80s, some of them shooting in the 60s, So playing the course that's appropriate for you, right, is hugely important. And as you grow, the course gets longer for you. So I think this has been the biggest change in junior golf. And I think the culture is also changing in the country, that kids, if you look at the US Kids calendar, most of the events are oversubscribed. There's waiting lists, which has never happened before. So it's a huge positive.
All right. Finally,
and just for a record, Riz is certified US kids coach, and one of our own, Kanana, she is going to US to Carolina this July to play World Championship US Kids competition.
Well, the story of success. Kanana Mudomi, I know that he doesn't want to speak about the sport with a bigger ball. Now he wants to concentrate on this, on golf and the daughter. All the best to her, by the way. And thank you for, because we've seen her reports throughout the championship, the US Kids Championship, and she can go play out there. Thank you very much, Riz.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Simo, thank you.
Thank you
for
very
joining
much.
us. With the weekend, it's the It is the Windsor Classic at the Windsor Golf and Country Club, and that is basically the second event of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championships. 500,000 shillings in prize money up for grabs for the professionals, the ladies, and the men will be playing. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. I leave, and coming up next is Kurunzi Mashinani with Gladys Mungai, and later the interview segment, Tambrini. Have a good afternoon.
Jenny, you're pretty good.
You really haven't improved at all, Piggy.
What did you call me? Who told you that name?
Well, that's good.
But we really can't get lost again.
Yeah, I know.
So I was thinking, if something happened to you, I could help. Oh my, what clothes are you wearing? Lover's clothes? They're so ugly. What?
I have to be honest. I'm not sure how much longer I can hide this.
Ulimatupi wewe na wewe ni nini?
Mimi ulinipotelea nikajiuliza sasa hizi ni mashita gani? Wewe unajua wewe ndio ulikuwa best friend wangu hizi siku zote.
What to go? Nakwambia ule matope kumbe ile kitu iko na sibiti. Ili kocha spiti yake kumbe ni 2000 km per hour. Ili nikaongeza hapo bongo ikachikana na small intestine ikachikana na bone marrow.
Sitaki kuestiwa time. Wewe umekuja hapa. Si uko na kitu cha kusema?
Lego nayo.
Si uniambie nasikiza, I can as well multitask.
Nani ajui? Nani haelewi story zako?
Nyama. Ati nini?
Haujui? Hakuna mtu mwenye.
Wewe.
Nini?
Ngima tega gaska watu tegu. Ngima te yatmugulel dang. Ngima te manguge. Nyange begi putina. Lale yo kimi give again. Lale yo Kitwat FM gigosi. Lale yo Kitwat FM gigosi. 98.6